Whoop. This one's a little hot. All right, let's see if we got this going here. Checking out the sound and everything. Live streaming. Guys out there, video manager sounding good. Thank you, C Rose. Let's see where we're at. All right, everybody. All right. Live control room. Stream health looks good. Okay. Public view preview. Let's see. Okay. Happy Sunday. Hello. Everyone's tuning in. Jenny Walker, hello. So the audio and the video is all good with everybody? Everybody looking good? Happy Sunday. Lone Star Progressive. Cotty is hi from Wisconsin. Bluebell 51, hello. All right. Looking good, sounding good. I like it. Welcome, everybody. Francisco Xavier Vargas has given me the them. This is a wonderful symbol in America. Other countries, this means kiss my ass, so I'm going to assume you're doing it in the American context. This is like, to your super chat. Yay. Jeremy, hello. Awesome. Yes. Thank you for being a big fan, everybody. So, Forsaken Companion is here. One thing I wanted to check is some stuff here. Let me know if it's all coming in. There you go. All right. Hello. All right. Wow. Marcia Smith is here. Jordan A. Bernie Bro is here. Forsaken Companion is here. Sonics Fan 81. Yes, my Thanksgiving did go well. It was quite nice. Hope you guys had a great Thanksgiving. Jiminy Jokers is here. Jordan Peterson is here. You guys are fantastic. Look at that. 29 people already pumping in here. So, just coming out of a turkey coma. Jiminy Jokers, I thought the Sonics won in 79. Yes. Everybody have a good Thanksgiving? I saw Justice League. I'm like a big brother mentor to a kid, and we went and saw Justice League, which was cool. And then I went to a buddy's house for a little bit, hung out with him and his family, and then went to another friend's house. She had a vegan Thanksgiving, and we had a karaoke machine, and that was fantastic. Shiloh Plummer. First live stream you've ever been able to catch. Well, welcome. Welcome to the Super Chat Sundays. Shiloh. Luz Martinez is here. Jason Cole, how am I feeling today? I'm feeling great. I just got done surfing with Putin. Took my red surfboard out there and we surfed with Putin. And Jill Stein just happened to walk by on the beach, so I'm sure she's in league with Putin. If she was just on the same beach as him, she must be working directly with him. And I was with my cousin, who's in this really cool band, Junk Parlor. I put a clip of their music on. If you're a Patreon supporter at the $2 level and up, you got to see one of their songs last night. They played at the Mint in Los Angeles. It's a really cool show, so I just put some of the music up on the Patreon page just to give you guys a musical interlude. And Jason Vanderford is my cousin. It's his band, and he's a really cool guy, so I like promoting him. Rhombus Isotope is here. So what is it you find folks would like to talk about on this Sunday after Thanksgiving? C. Rose, your husband has been working 94 hours a week, first day off in months on Tuesday. We'll do Thanksgiving then. Well, that's cool. Get to celebrate it your way, however you'd like to do it. Good for you, C. Rose. Oh, what's going on? Francisco Xavier, Stein waxed Putin's board and got Trump elected naturally. Of course, that's what she did. If Jill Stein wouldn't have, given Putin that surfboard, we wouldn't have Trump. It's pretty simple. Way to go. And the Burn Bros waxed it for him. Thanks, Burn Bros, for giving Putin a surfboard. Way to go. Thanks a lot. All right, here we go. Bluebell 51, Indigenous people have mourning day instead of Thanksgiving. Yeah, I posted a video about Thanksgiving. I tried to post it last night, but I was having internet trouble. It went up early this morning. There's a great column in truthdig.com that I was talking about. Snork-Y2K, should we change name of Thanksgiving? My kids came out yesterday. Maybe. I don't know. For me, like, obviously all the genocide that has happened in this country and the history of Thanksgiving is pretty awful. But just as a dinner and a time of year to get together with friends and family and celebrate what we're thankful for, that concept on its own isn't a bad thing. Gluttony and whitewashing history, that's not good. Not giving Native American people credit for everything that they've given up and contributed to this society, that's not good. Excuse me. That's not good either. Kadi, self-sufficient living and how that will be more necessary given climate change and multiple collapse scenarios coming. Okay. Let's talk about the environment and self-sufficient living. So one of the things I would recommend, if you can, is, so I've talked about this numerous times, but it's worth repeating. So I would start collecting rainwater. Even if you're in an area that doesn't suffer from a lot of droughts, I would start collecting rainwater. You can just get these barrels and put them under your drain pipe with the little spigot, and then you're saving water. I would also look at, now they're pretty expensive currently, but I did a story many, many months ago about a new kind of solar panel that was invented that takes moisture from the air and creates drinkable water. I'd look at something like that. I'd look at getting your own electricity from wind and solar and whatever else. I'd look at composting. I'd look at growing your own food. I'd look at all those types of scenarios. That's what I would look at, how to be more self-sustaining and lessen your carbon footprint. Now, I live in an apartment, as many of you know. I just got an electric car, which I love. It's really awesome. Electric cars are not the perfect solution, but they're a step in the right direction. And if I had my own home, I would put solar panels on it, so I'd be charging my car with the sun, is what I would do. I would also I've talked about this before, just little things like single-use plastic is one of the worst things for the environment, and we all have to use it at some. There's stuff wrapped in plastic, there's straws or whatever. So to lessen the use of those and stuff like this, like I just have one of these and then I fill it up. I have a filter on my sink, on my faucet, and that's how I fill up my water. And then I take this around and I try to avoid, I don't buy bottled water. Sometimes it's given to me because like a comedy club will have it, or I'm a guest on a podcast or something and they'll give you a bottle of water. That's great. I always try to make sure I get it recycled. But also buy materials that are, buy products that are made from recycled materials. Those are the things I would highly recommend. And one of the things I would do is get your community to start paying more attention to this stuff. Get your schools, your place of business, whatever, just businesses that you frequent to start to become more self-sustaining. I think we all need to be more self-sustaining. Well, that's how I see it. Kate. All right, let's see here. A lot of questions popping up here. Yeah, Lone Star Progressive, grow a garden if you can. Growing a garden is the best thing you can do. First of all, you have control over the food, the soil, everything. You can start an organic garden pretty easily. And there's YouTube videos on how to do it. And you have complete control over the food that you're eating versus not knowing where it's coming from and everything else. So, Bluebell 51, I have 28 acres with a spring. Yeah. Art Kozlinski, U.S. kids are suing the government for denying climate change. Judge just allowed case to go through and starts in February. That is fantastic. Oh, I hope these kids win. Or I hope they win, obviously. But if they get just shunned, I'd love to see, like, is the court system going to really just show these kids how corrupt and evil they are? I really want to see these kids get how they would respond if that were to happen. Would they just go, no way? And just, you are creating a generation of activists, which is fantastic. That's so great. The K-Line report, Thanksgiving in Canada is more about a time for fall harvest, which is why it's in October. I do feel bad about the history, but I do look at the holiday as a harvest fest. No, that's not a bad thing to look at. Bluebell 51, and get a stainless steel water bottle. Yeah, that's the next thing I would like to get because this is still made from plastics. I'm trying to get away from plastic as best I can, but man, is that really hard to do. I just bought, I have a little compost bin, so I have compostable bags that I get at the you can get them at Whole Foods or Trader Joe's or any sort of co-op. And then I sometimes take to the beach, food. So I just bought compostable plastic forks and knives, which are really cool. Compostable plastic and metal and stuff like that, and wood and also bamboo and hemp are very sustainable because they grow like weeds. Haha, get it? And so they're very sustainable, but that's a good point with the metal can. Sea Love, I commute with my 3 kids all on one bike, babysit and 2 kid bike trailer, super green. Oh, good for you, Sea Rose, and phenomenal exercise. And you're showing your kids that exercise and getting out and riding your bike every day is just part of their life versus waiting till the kid, gets older and then you're trying to tell them to exercise. If you get the kid started playing outside and riding their bike, it's just going to be a part of their life. Forsaken Companion, Art, Halloween is about the particular time of year. It's Sam Hain, so a different date wouldn't make sense. I don't understand that. Maybe I'm missing some. You guys are having some conversation that I don't understand. Jiminy Jokers, the best way to fight climate change, vasectomies. Don't have kids. Plenty of kids without parents out there that need a home. Well, that's true. I understand the basic human need and evolutionary biology to want to have a kid, and that's fine if you do. I got 6 nieces and nephews, but adoption is fantastic. I believe that too. There's a lot of kids out there that could use a wonderful home. So think about that. Let's see where we're at here. Well, a lot of questions coming in. The K-Line report. Bottled water is the biggest money scam people don't notice. Hashtag screw Nestle. Yeah, that's true. Very much. Bottled water is a scam. David Kapoor, walk, bike, use transit to fight climate catastrophe. Great points. I say that a lot too, man. Just take your bike, take public transportation, just one less car, even just on a short trip, even one day a week if you take public transportation or walk or take your... You might not seem like it's a lot, but it is. And if 5% of the population, 10% of the population starts doing that or more, then you're going to see then a dramatic change. Jenny Lynn, what's up? Cody, I don't know how I'm pronouncing that. I'm probably butchering it both ways. Thanks for the reply. I would suggest checking out permaculture. If you have never heard about it, it can be incredibly profound for people. No, I do not know about permaculture. What is it? Let's see. Snork Y2K. I demode atmospheric water to potable water for defense technology in Honolulu in 2014. Public was not allowed to see it without permission. Holy shit. Wow. I'd like to know more about that. Kate, could we change the holiday to more of a harvest festival, Earth Day? Man, that would be great if that's what we made Thanksgiving was about, was as a harvest Earth Day. And we talked about, you know, converting to a plant-based diet and sustainable practices and sustainable everything. I'm all for that. David Kapoor, walking, biking, and transit use also help build community and connect you to where you live. You know, that's a great point, David. I hadn't considered that aspect of it. Let me just adjust my microphone here. But that's a really great point too. I think, especially here in Los Angeles, so it's easy to just spend all your time in your car. And you're typically alone in your car. When I start taking more public transportation, I am interacting with people. Yeah, sure, everyone's on headphones and doing that, but there are some people that I talk to. Plus, I also just get to see a different part of Los Angeles. I interact with different people that maybe might not live in my neighborhood or whatever of my same ethnic or socioeconomic background. And that's a really cool thing too, especially building a bike. There is sort of a bike community in any city you live in. And you find where are the bike racks and the bike lanes, and you go to the bike store. And I know the guy at my local bike shop. And I joined the Los Angeles Bicycle Coalition, which is just sort of an advocacy group for bikers, you know, bicyclists' rights. That's a great point. I never even thought of that. What a great thing to figure into the equation. It's amazing when you start going to a more sort of environmentally friendly or sustainable lifestyle, how many other ancillary benefits come from it outside of just the obvious ones of, you know, less carbon emissions. That's a great point. Thanks for bringing that up. Bluebell 51, learn to cook. Yes, cooking is good. Jenny Lynn, you sexist burn, bro. Bluebell 51, I can't take a bike anywhere. Well, I understand that. Now there are, if you're talking about just the size of a bike and they're sort of, they take up a lot of space and how do you do that? There are like bikes that literally fold up. And I've seen them. They look a little weird, but I know people that have them because I've asked somebody because I cycle a lot. And I'm like, how do you like that? Like, I love it. And they just fold it up and take it with them on the bus or whatever. And then if, you know, I've seen them like, been riding my bike all day, I'm exhausted, so they just fold it up, put it in the trunk of an Uber or Lyft or whatever. That's pretty cool. Jordan Peterson, where is this? Do you think the use of industrial hemp is being underrated in the national cannabis legalization debate? Seems many states could use the boon in new types of manufacturing. Boy, that's a great point, Jordan. It really should be. Well, right now, we're just so much of the marijuana or cannabis debate is just about legalizing marijuana on a federal level to save us all of the tax costs and incarceration costs and everything, which is a big amount of money. But that's a great point too. The Constitution is written on hemp paper, and local that's a great point, because I honestly believe the more I've been doing this show and the more people I talk to, that the thing, and I've asked in a lot of those green room interviews that I've done, several people, Dave Reinitz, Eddie Pepitone, and others have talked about what's going to make a third party is going to be labor, the unification of labor. And I talk about this a lot is when I say vote with your dollars and find the financial benefits of going green. Find the financial benefits of whatever, stopping war, ending the bullshit war on drugs or whatever. That is a great point, because if we started to show, look at all the products from hemp and look at how many hemp-based products, someone must do the research. Hemp-based products, how many of them are made in the U.S., how much hemp is grown in the U.S., how many jobs does it provide? You start coming up with those numbers, then everyone's going to start getting involved. There's a bunch of conservatives in Colorado who are now going, oh, wait a minute. Maybe this medical marijuana thing's not bad. Jobs, schools are better, crime is down, like all this stuff. That's a great point, man. Thanks for bringing that up. Classroom cooperative. Well, I'm not saying not to do whatever you can as an individual. You can't lose focus of the fact that the major polluters are corporations and the main fight needs to be there. Yes, classroom cooperative, I agree with you. Yes, we need to go after the corporations. But I've seen some research that the biggest... I saw this special on the 5 islands of floating garbage that are out in the oceans. And they did a lot of research. They looked at what the garbage was, and most of the garbage was from just individuals. There's 7.5 billion people on this planet. We're still the single greatest contributors to pollution. All of us, every day. Single-use plastic, just buy a new one, don't fix anything, throw it away, get a new one, don't recycle it. Like we can't overlook that either. Well, I agree with you, we need to go after the corporations, they're giant polluters. But if all of us, meaning the entire planet, 7.5 billion people started being way more aware of what we're doing and buying more sustainable products. That's the other thing too. When I say vote with your dollars, you want to change corporations, doing that through the government and politics is great and it's fine, but nothing, and I mean nothing, will change their tune quicker than a mass exodus of money coming in, because everyone said the hell with that. Or a bunch of profits coming up from sustainable products or organic products. When they see money's to be made, when car manufacturers go, oh wow, there's a 2 or 3% uptick in electric vehicles. That might seem not a lot to you or me, but that's a lot to them. That represents tens of hundreds of millions of dollars. Anything that moves the needle will move their policy. So I agree with you, yes, to go after the corporations, but it still starts with all of us on an individual level. And the more of us that participate and make just little teeny changes in our life, the more they're going to respond. The more we don't buy products that are harmful and steer closer to, and just do our own, just little things. Oh, our lives are so easy, but a little extra thing, a little compostable, anything like that. I think those move the needle. Anyway. Kate, I'd love to have one of those zero waste grocery stores here in the U.S. Oh, that's pretty cool. Bluebell 51, check our local thrift shop. I got mine for less than $1. You got what for less than $1? Oh, stainless steel bottles. That's what you're talking about. Cool. Don't forget, guys. Oh, Hugh Edwards just did a super chat. Thank you, Hugh, for supporting the show. You're not even asking a question, but thank you so much. I appreciate that. It's another great way to support the show is do the super chats. If you put, for those of you who are new, if you hit that dollar symbol icon that's just to the right of the emoji icon, you can put whatever amount of money you want to, and then it'll come up and you can ask whatever question, because I can't answer all these questions because there's like 47 of you, which is pretty cool. We're usually in the 30s, but now we're in the upper 40s, which is awesome. And some of you I want to thank, since this has come up, Hugh Edwards. Some of you have said, Graham, I don't want to do the super chat. I don't want to give money, or I don't want to do Patreon or whatever, PayPal. So I want to, this address is on my website. And several of you have sent me in checks just as support. Some of you even sent cash with unmarked envelopes. Feel a little weird about that, but I appreciate that. And since you're sending me in the mail and you want to keep it anonymous, you can. Here's the address if anybody wants to do that, but it's a great way to support the show. If you just like, here's a one-time donation, I really, really appreciate that. I'm in the process of looking for a part-time producer. I'm starting to interview these people and look for people. So that's going to happen in the next month. And means I'm going to be able to do more content because they can handle all the extra time of posting. It takes so much time, posting and everything. I can just focus on researching articles and talking about them. Matthew M. Who would you vote for in a three-way race between Bill, Jill Stein, and Bernie, Jill Stein, and Jimmy Dore? Well, that's a great question. And I think I would vote for Bernie. I love Jill's. I voted for Bernie and Jill Stein. So I would vote for Bernie because as it stands now, he's still the most popular politician in America, which carries with it a lot of, he has a big fundraising ability. And under our current system, that's how stuff gets done. That's how you win an election. So it would seem to me he would be the most realistic person to be president that people could actually get behind. And I think more people who were like, you know, last year, like, I don't know, Bernie, all of his pie in the sky, crazy socialism. Now they see crazy Trump. I think more of those people, more of the moderates or left-leaning moderates or just right-leaning moderates might be like, you know what, now Bernie, I'm on board with Bernie, which means to me that if he were to win, he would have more of a sweeping mandate from the people to get stuff done. And I think Jimmy Dore would agree with me. I absolutely think Jimmy Dore would agree with me. And I think Jill Stein would too. And I think if Bernie got elected, if Jill Stein wasn't his VP, he would put her in the cabinet somewhere. She'd be involved in his presidency, which would be awesome. So a Bernie win would also be a Jill Stein win and a Green Party win and an independent win. Kate! Oh my God, Kate, thank you for supporting the show. Really appreciate that. You guys are awesome. I don't have a question, Kate, but that's really cool that you support the show. I really appreciate that. Door 2020, don't let the door hit you on the way out. We're coming up with campaign slogans. Here's my campaign slogan, Door Elwood 2020. Would you vote for that ticket? I'll be Jimmy's VP. I'll be his crazy Joe Biden. Only I won't be a corporatist. Kate, thank you so much. I appreciate you supporting the show. Where are we at here? Poverty does suck. You messed up the super chat. Were you trying to ask me a question, Kate, and you couldn't figure it out? Well, put a question in there right now. Just type in a regular question and I'll answer it. Okay? Kate, don't worry. It's okay, Kate. You're not a bad person. Brandon Williams, do you think that the United States is leading towards a third world country? Boy, I don't know that we're getting third world. I don't know that we'll be third world. But we're definitely not going to be a superpower. We're definitely leaning towards not being a superpower. If we divulge all the way down into third world, woof, that's then we really fucked up. Oof. Kate, trying to convince a farmer not to start a beef farm, dairy farm to make more money. What can they grow instead that makes a lot of money in Michigan and not weed? Ooh, Kate, great question. And again, thanks for supporting the show. Well, I have a cousin that's a farmer in Montana. And he grows a lot of like chickpeas and stuff like that, and he sells them overseas to like India and to third world countries. So he tells me it's such a profitable crop. Also, I've heard soybeans are very profitable, and a lot of people are like, oh, soy's bad, soy's bad. I question that, but some of you have even emailed me about that. So if they don't want to grow weed, I would look at some type of vegetable that is mass produced. So I buy a lot of vegan protein powder. So currently I have Vega Sport protein, which is good, and I bought, which uses pea protein. I said pea. PEA protein, and I bought just plain pea protein. So they take plants and they get the protein. Every type of food has protein in it. So I would suggest that. From what I understand, of course, I'm not a farmer, but from what I understand, it's a pretty good cash crop. That's what I would look into. That's what I would have these farmers look into, Kate. And since, as you just put here, it's not legal to grow weed in Michigan yet. That's what I would convince them to do, you know, and find the most sustainable way. And I would encourage them to whatever crop they use to find them, like do rainwater reclamation and find the most sustainable. And look, there's a lot of farms in like Michigan and Iowa, or excuse me, Minnesota and Iowa that are they're making money from wind. So they have like, I've seen like, there'll be like 4 or 5 farms. They'll put like one wind turbine in the middle of 4 or 5 farms and they all share it. And that they're getting more electricity than they know what to do with. Like they're selling off excess electricity. So I would also talk to this particular farmer or farmers that you're speaking with in Michigan and say, that's another thing they should add. Whatever crop they grow, put wind out there. And also think about, water filtration. I would look at a lot of stuff like that. But Kate, thank you so much for supporting the show, man. I really appreciate it. Where are we at here? Forsaken Companion. No corn and soy. There's already more than enough. It's in everything and for no good reason. Good point. Good point, Forsaken Companion. Yes, Kate. So tell them to grow peas. And have them do a little research on what. See if you could do some research yourself to kind of guide them outside of, because if they're beef or dairy farmers, they're probably sort of in this world where they're getting all this information from just sort of a specific handful set of sources, and try to get them outside of that and show them farmers that have done organic farming and how it's been profitable. Because they want to make a profit, and farmers, it's a tough racket, you know, and so that's what I would do. I would do a little preliminary research if you're really going to try to convince somebody. So you sort of help sort of steer and guide them down the road to maybe doing something that wouldn't be beef or dairy. Great question. Oof. Brandon Williams, what are the chances that Donald Trump wins a second term? Well, if the DNC keeps doing this bullshit, if they're trying to push somebody else, a corporatist, Elizabeth Warren or Kamala Harris or somebody like that, he has a good chance. He has a good chance at winning because the DNC doesn't want to learn anything. If they keep shunning progressives. Now, if Bernie, who said he's going to run as a Democrat, if he runs at anything, it'll be as a Democrat, not as an independent. If he runs as a Democrat, then there's a shot at knocking Trump out of there. But Trump could easily win a second term if the Democrats keep acting this goddamn stupid. Oh, God, so dumb. Plantastic Life. Thank you for the super chat. Give peas a chance. So you just want to spend $5 to make a joke. Fantastic, Plantastic. You're plantastically fantastic, Plantastic Life. Give peas a chance. Yeah, let's all give peas a chance. That's a great statement you're making, and thank you for supporting the show. Kate Mal-CH, thanks Mal-CH. Haven't gotten the nerve to ask them yet. I bought apples from them in the summer, and they said that it's been haunting, and it has been haunting me ever since. Well, good for you, man. SMCO full. What happened to Liz Warren? She sucks now? All right, here's the thing about Liz Warren. This is a fair question. Yes, she does some okay stuff, but Liz Warren also was one of the people that voted for this $80 billion in war money to give to Trump that he didn't even want or ask for. So this is my problem with Elizabeth Warren. I see her fight the fight, and she does some good stuff, but then I just see her just still beholden to corporate Democratic policy and corporate Democratic money. So I just feel like we have another, I'm very, very leery of her. I just feel like this is another Obama, right? we'll all go, oh man, she's going to change everything. And she's a woman. It'll be a first female president. It'll be awesome. And then, whap. No. And she'll get the nomination over somebody like Tulsi Gabbard or Nina Turner. And Tulsi and Nina are the women I would like to see president. Tulsi Gabbard, I think, would make a fantastic president. So that's my problem with Elizabeth Warren. I can't just, oh, wow, she resists Trump. She yelled at that Wells Fargo guy in that Senate hearing in the spring. Yeah, the guy didn't go to jail, though. She was just grandstanding for the camera. She didn't fucking... That guy still got his $124 million severance package. So that was his punishment, was $124 million. Wow, Liz Warren, way to fight the fight. She's all these all caps resistance tweets. And then look what she does. Oh, here's $80 billion to keep war. There's $80 billion that could have gotten everybody college tuition. They could have paid off student loan. They could have fixed all the leaky, could have gotten clean water. In Flint, Michigan, we just had the Keystone Pipeline, 5,000 barrels of oil leaking. And what does she do? She gives $80 billion to the fucking war machine. So fuck Liz Warren. Amy Matura. Hi, Graham. Nice cardigan. Personally, I'm really tired of the hero-villain scenarios presented, especially through social media, which I do not have. Yeah, it's a V-neck. I got this at a thrift store, by the way. Buy used clothing when you can. Sometimes you got to buy used. But I bought this at a thrift store in high school for $7. And I've had it ever since. I've had this for 30 years. So Amy, thank you so much for supporting the show. When you mean the hero-villain scenarios presented, are you talking about specifically... I guess as I read this, and correct me if I'm wrong, like the whole is this sort of like the team tribal thing, like my team's great, the other team's bad, and we're blaming this group, or no one wants to take responsibility? I think that's part of the problem. If that is what you're talking about, that is a huge part of the problem. Because then everyone's a victim and no one wants to take responsibility. It's like, everyone is like, so all these powerful men in show business or whatever, a lot of them are coming out to be creeps and sexual predators, some of them even doing sexual assault. Some of them, it's the range of like sexual harassment all the way up to sexual assault, and it's awful. And men need to really rethink things, and men need to have conversations, and men need to be like, should I say that? Should I make that joke? Should I make this inappropriate? Should I touch in that way? I shouldn't. Men should really be having this conversation. But then part of the thing is I'm hearing some women just go, men, 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 men. And it is not just men. There were 3 stories that came out last week of female teachers having sex with underage male students. And we hear this story a lot. And so in that scenario, here's a woman in a position of authority. And now plenty of male teachers have had sex with underage female students. There's no two ways about it. But there's more females teaching than there are males. So this tends to happen a little more. And it's women in a position of power abusing their authority and using sex to manipulate a child. And when I was a younger man, I used to think, man, I wish when I was 15, a hot teacher wanted to have sex with me. Man, I had boners all the time when I was 15. I used to say that. A lot of people say that. A lot of men say that. The older I get, the more I realize that's bullshit. And I would have been manipulated by an adult. And so one of the things, if I hear this correctly, of the hero-villain, the us versus them, the pro-con, the tribalism, the teams, whatever you want to call it, is we all need to talk about everything. We need to ask every question. We need to, let me see if I'm finding your follow-up question. Where is your thing? Yeah. Yes, the sexual assault groping is a problem, dismissing any one politician on any one issue. Okay, all right, so let me see so that's what I was saying. So going back to these female high school teachers, these 3 stories that came out. So the question we need to ask ourselves, yes, men need to change their behavior and how they treat women. It is still very much a patriarchy, but here's women in a position of power abusing it. And the question I want to ask is, what are these 15-year-old boys 10 years from now, 20 years from now? What is their opinion of women going to be based on this experience of being manipulated when they were adolescents? They weren't fully grown. They weren't mature yet. Their brains weren't fully developed. They weren't adults yet. What's that going to do? And I guess if you're referencing like not liking a politician for one issue or not, if maybe you were talking about my opinion of Elizabeth Warren, specifically to the Elizabeth Warren thing, I do have a purity test when it comes to my politicians, and they need to be full progressives, and they need to be for $15 an hour. They need to be for universal health care, and they need to be against the war machine. They need to cut our military budget. And so when I see politicians do this, I personally am not judging Elizabeth Warren based on one thing. I've seen her do some good stuff, but more often than not, I see her do stuff that tells me she's a corporate Democrat. So, thank you, Amy. I'm glad you like my cardigan, and I think that's a great question that you brought up, and the scenario, especially through social media. Well, that's the problem too in social media, is it becomes very much like a witch hunt. Whatever the thing is, whatever the outrage of the day is, everybody just jumps all over it, versus like weighing all the issues. And like, so what, like what Harvey Weinstein did and what Al Franken did. Well, what Al Franken did is awful, and it sounds like he's being more of a creep, but that's not the same as being a serial rapist. So just lumping Al Franken into that category is also dangerous. We need to have a conversation. We need to stop sexual predators. We need to, or even but inappropriate sexual harassment and sexual assault are not the same thing. So also we got to ask the why. Why is Harvey Weinstein acting this way? And the why isn't excusing what he did. Sounds like he's a serial rapist. He needs to go to prison. But why? We got to ask why, because if we just skip over why and go right into punish, we're skipping over why and we're skipping over prevent. Because if we want to prevent, we have to ask why. And maybe Harvey Weinstein, I'm not making excuses for the guy. Maybe his dad was awful to his mom, and so he grew up thinking, oh, it's okay to treat women like shit. Or maybe he was abused by women as a young boy. Adult women can't really physically, sexually assault a man as adults, but they can to young boys for sure. And I know a lot of men and women that were abused as small children by women. Obviously, men do a lot of that too. So I think we need to ask ourselves, we all need to look in the mirror and ask ourselves, what is my part in this? How can I help? What can I do differently? As a man, have I ever said anything inappropriate? Have I ever put my hands where I should? Have I ever made a woman feel uncomfortable in any way? I can't do that. We've talked a lot about toxic masculinity on this show. I've had a lot of women tell me, oh, you're a man, you can take it, man up. I've had some women tell me, God, when I see a guy cry, I think he's weak. What do you think that does to a man? We're told our whole lives, be tough, don't cry. If you cry, you're weak. Anything soft makes you a pussy or you're queer or any of that shit. So women have helped contribute to the toxic masculinity. Now, overall, our society is toxic masculinity is a dead result of never-ending war. Hedges talks about this. But anyway, I'm kind of going all over the place. But Amy, thank you so much for supporting the show. What else have we gotten here? Give Peas a chance. You're so funny. Independent Outsider, speaker's working, brother. See you tomorrow. Yes, Independent Outsider. We're doing our Skype interview tomorrow. One of the things you guys can do at the $25 level. Thanks for supporting the show. What's the other question here? I thought I saw another one came in. Oh, Costello West. Keep up the good vids. Thank you, sir. I didn't get to as many this week because it was the holiday. But, cranking them out. And like I said, I'm interviewing a bunch of different producers to see if we can figure out, because I'm only got part-time money, so can they do it and all the work that's involved. But going to be cranking it out. You guys are awesome. Let's see, where are we at here? Sarah J. Thank you for supporting the show. Awesome. You're awesome. I think that it can be easy to overblow sexual harassment too, because a lot of people are dealing with real sexual trauma not dealt with. Man, Sarah, is that a great point? So if you've ever been the victim of sexual assault or sexual trauma, especially if it was like from as a child or a teenager, then if I understand what your statement is correctly, then even a joke or a thing, maybe it's a little out of appropriate or out of bounds, can be very, very severe if you're feeling very raw about that. That's a serious thing. I have a very good friend of mine who had some repressed memories of childhood abuse come up, and they stayed dormant in him for like 3 or 4 decades, and all of a sudden he's remembering this of being abused, and it's like, whew, it's really intense for him, and his emotions are all over the place. They're all over the place. Anger, complete sadness, shame. And I think that's a good point, Sarah. While we need to, sexual harassment, we need to address that, we also got to understand where someone's coming from. And I think people, especially if it's something happened to you when you were a kid, and the memories maybe are foggy, or you just don't want to remember it, or your brain, shut it off because you were so young. Your brain wasn't completely developed when the abuse happened. So, especially if you were at a pre-verbal level or you weren't speaking or whatever. So it can make it then, the memories are so powerful because what they're happening when repressed memories come forward is now your brain is dealing with the memory, and physiologically the trauma is in your body. So now your brain and body are reacting as though it just happened. So if you have a memory that just came forward, you're reacting as though the trauma is just happened right now. So it's that's what happens, is the memory stays in the fight or flight part of the brain, and it needs to go into the frontal part of the brain where it just becomes a memory. Like you can just, and if anyone's going through that, I highly recommend EMDR. I know it has helped so many people. So use EMDR if you're having repressed memories of abuse come forward, because it helps get the memory. And I've read some information from some therapists who have said the point of EMDR will get you to the place where you can tell the story of the abuse like you just went to the store, versus reliving it. It's a thing that you can acknowledge it happened in the past and you've dealt with it. The other thing too I want to talk about, since you brought this up, Sarah J, and I really, again, appreciate you supporting the show. I think too, going back to sort of men. So men, the way men interact with each other, especially like I played sports, and in locker rooms, there's a lot of like, slapping another dude's ass and making jokes. And, I like, if a guy bends over, I used to do this when I was younger. Any guy that bent over, another guy would walk behind him like they were having sex, and then be like, get off me. So I think guys do a lot of this sort of grab assing, and I think, and not to excuse guys that say and do creepy things. There's plenty of guys that are just creepy assholes. But I think some guys, and I'm not making excuses for them, I'm just trying to give an explanation. They're dumb, and they joke with women the way they would joke with men, and they didn't realize you can't make those jokes. I have a lot of female comic friends of mine, but there's certain jokes I won't make with them that I'll make with guy comics, and I know that. I think some guys are just dumb, and they need to know that. They need to know, hey, I wouldn't make that joke. Like someone, maybe the woman, or maybe another guy goes, dude, you don't make those jokes with women. You make those jokes with your guy friends, that's fine. I'm sure there's ways women interact with each other that they know, I don't make those jokes with men, or I don't interact with men the way I interact with my female friends. I think that's part of it too. And then I think, again, I've met so many guys that are misogynistic, and they had some shitty abuse or treatment from women growing up. Their mom, or a stepmom, or a teacher, something that just, they have such a negative view of women because of that. Again, it doesn't excuse the abuse and whatever creepy shit they're doing as adult men, but it explains it. We need to get into the explaining it. Because if we just go punish, then that's what we're doing with the war on drugs. Punish, the war on terror. It doesn't work. Lock them all up. I'm not saying Harvey Weinstein doesn't need to be locked up, or Bill Cosby, or anyone that's actually done sexual assault. There needs to be consequences for what you've done. But we really need to start asking ourselves on a big level why this is happening. God, Sarah, great question. Thanks for bringing this up. Who else? Francisco Xavier Vargas. Fall resistance sucks energy from the organic resistance that's larger than we realize. We can connect, listen, empathize with similar-minded folks. That's a great point, Francisco. It's why I do this show. Because right after the election, I was arguing with people on social media. Trump supporters, Clinton supporters, and I realized that's not the format for it. So I started to do the videos because it's a long format and I can discuss something and discuss the complexities of an issue and say maybe I'm wrong, maybe I don't get it. And I can't do that in 140 or 240 characters on Twitter or even in a lengthy Facebook post. That's why I like this, why I started doing this specific Super Chat Sunday, because I want to hear what you guys have to say. I want to have a discussion because I think that's part of the problem. Everyone's just going, I'm right, you're wrong, I'm right, you're wrong. That's all anyone's doing on social media by and large. And no one's listening. And that's like, as you say, Francisco Xavier Vargas, connect, listen, empathize with similar-minded folks. Empathize with them. Because that's what we need to get to. We need to connect. It's like the internet. It's weird. We're more connected than ever. Like there's people from all over the world watching this right now and interacting, right? You're all interacting with each other and me from all over the world. That's fantastic. But then also there's this like disconnect. We're all doing this versus talking face to face. I know some people, I had an ex-girlfriend. She didn't have any real friends. All she did was like group chats. And I'm like, you don't go out to lunch and like talk one-on-one and share your feelings? No, we just hang out at the bar. And it's like, well, that's drinking. Those are drinking buddies. Those aren't real friends. And I think that's why I like building a community. I want to discuss. I've learned so much from you guys. Hopefully you're learning stuff from me. That's what we need. Francisco Xavier Vargas, thank you for supporting the show. And what a great topic. Where is this? James P.W. Martin. $10 donation. Thank you, James. Data suggests 100 billion Earth-like planets exist in habitable zones. Thoughts on aliens? In my opinion, they're hiding UFOs because they utilize free energy tech, which would destroy fossil fuel industry. Oh, I'm going to take an energy drink for this one. So, James P.W. Martin, thanks for supporting the show. My thoughts on aliens, they're bullshit. You're a fucking wingnut. Get off of my show. No, I'm kidding. There absolutely is intelligent life out there in the universe. There's no way there isn't. The thing like they're hiding UFOs because they utilize free energy tech, that could very well be true. They're hiding UFOs from us for a reason. It might be that they think we can't handle it. It might be that maybe there are some dangerous aliens out there and if that got out, we would lose our minds. But I think, and I've seen this theory before, and do I 100% believe it? I don't know. It's hard to say. There's no concrete evidence. But when people talk about, technology was kind of advancing like this, and then all of a sudden it just sort of these huge spikes, and people are like, we must have gotten that from aliens. Some alien must have gotten here and put a microprocessing chip in somebody's lap and just like, now, the cell phone that I'm talking to you on, the iPhone, is more powerful than the computer that put men on the moon in 1969. And it took up a room, a giant football-sized room or whatever. So, yeah, I think there's UFOs here. The government is aware of it. They're keeping it hidden from us. Or maybe, I don't know, maybe the intelligent life form came down here and saw how dumb everyone was, and we're just murdering each other, and we're greedy and selfish, and, and just went, I'm out. These guys are morons. Because there's no way we're the smartest people on the planet, or in the universe. There's no way. We're like the dumb trailer park of life forms. Like, we're just the hi, woo, Walmart. We're like just a Walmart parking lot compared to this. There's got to be intelligent life out there that is so much more in tune with what they're doing. There just has to be. It's just unreal, man. And the tie you have, James Martin, with the fossil fuel industry, absolutely. The fossil fuel industry is the reason why everything is being held back. They're still pushing coal. I did a video for the Patreon supporters last week at the climate summit, I think in Germany or whatever. Trump sent pro-coal people. They had like a pro-coal. Coal's great. And people just like you're out of your minds. The fossil fuel industry knows it's done. It knows its time is over. It knows everybody is over it. And they're just fighting tooth and nail. They're not going to get wise and change and invest their money in green tech. So they're just fighting tooth and nail. And if the aliens came down and said, oh, look, here's some technology that can take dirty air and make it clean. Ding! Like, nope, nope, meh. Like, so I don't doubt that at all. Thank you, James P.W. Martin, for supporting the show. Where's another one after this? Somebody else. I want to make sure I get all of the super chats. Basil Peterson, thank you for supporting the show. All our societal problems are related to income inequity and the cancer of unregulated capitalism. That's an excellent point, Basil. And he talks about the 4 decades long corporate coup that Noam Chomsky's talked about, Ralph Nader's talked about this, Chris Hedges has talked about this. So it really shows, because the corporations have taken this over. Capitalism has plundered everything. If we had unregulated capitalism, who unregulated it? Bill Clinton, Bush, Reagan, Obama. They've all unregulated it. If we had a more, I think a highly, we've talked about this before, highly regulated capitalism infused with socialism is something that could absolutely work. But maybe we need to get rid of capitalism altogether. I don't know. Maybe it's time it's done. Maybe we just need to go to pure socialism, universal basic income. Could very well be the thing. But I don't think we can just make that jump immediately. I think there needs to be sort of a transitional arc to get us there. And income inequity is so much of it. Having done that video about the genocide of Native Americans, the largest genocide ever, the 100 million Native Americans here in North America, so it was capitalism that came in. We need to steal the land. We need to, like, capitalism has been the motivator in so many wars and genocides. It's just unbelievable. So sometimes genocides are ideological, but it's usually about money and power. And then they find an ideological reason to sort of justify what it is just money grabs and taking property and possessions from people. So that's a great thing, Basil. All our societal problems are related to income inequity and cancer of unregulated capitalism. Yeah. Share the wealth. That's a big problem here in America. The 1%, even just any wealthy people, people make so much money and then I can't just give my money away. I can't just help someone in less than need. They need to work hard and pull themselves up by their bootstraps. Maybe they didn't have your opportunities. I'm big brother to a kid whose, mom came from, Central America and had a really tough situation. And, I've met so many people that came to Los Angeles from Mexico to escape drug cartel violence. And who's fueling the drug cartels? Americans are buying all their drugs. Americans are. If you're buying cocaine, you're fueling drug cartel. You're fueling the worst, awful violence out there. Oh, I got a little high at the party. Okay, but that's what you're contributing to. That's who you're giving your money to. So she wasn't born into middle-class America and had all these opportunities. She had a really tough situation, and she's done the best with it. And it's because of, as you say, it's income inequity, unregulated capitalism. Thanks for bringing that up. Where are we at? Okay. Any other? Boom. Any other ones? I want to make sure I didn't miss anybody. I hope I answered all your questions correctly. Amy Matura, thank you again for supporting the show. Last Thanksgiving was depressing because of DAPL, and this year the reporter who covered it was fired and another pipeline was approved. Yeah. Not only that, but Keystone Pipeline leaked 5,000 barrels of oil. They're building new pipelines in Pennsylvania. And even after Keystone, the leak, in the state of Nebraska, it was up for a vote. Do we want this pipeline to come through? And they said yes. People in Nebraska voted yes for it. That shows you the power and the apathy and the machine behind getting people to not pay attention. You would think after 5,000 barrels of oil spill in South Dakota, the people in Nebraska would say, we don't want that near us. They voted yes for it. So Amy, the thing I would suggest to not get too depressed is find the positive. There is a lot of depressing shit out there. Believe me, doing this show, sometimes I have to take a break. Sometimes it's hard. But there's a lot of positive stuff out there. So one of the things that happened, a story I just did about Puerto Rico, is Representative Congressman Ted Lieu, he's my congressman from my district in California, he's a Democrat, is proposing a bill to rebuild Puerto Rico's infrastructure with wind and solar. Because Trump is trying to I think Trump just wants everybody to die there so he can build like casinos and shit for his rich buddies. I wouldn't doubt that at all. So Amy, look to stories like that and look to people who are doing the right thing and gravitate towards them and cling to them and support them and find what you can do in your community. That's the most important thing, Amy. And that's why I bought an electric car. I will not support these people financially. I will not. As we talked about at the beginning of this show, ride your bike, take the bus. That's not using their product. You know, that's not using their product at all. So I just think it's a very important. I can't understate the importance of little decisions that we all make in your everyday life, little purchases that you do or do not make. Support the good company, don't support the bad company. It might not seem like a lot to you, but it makes a difference. You know, go to defunddapl.org. Pull your money. If you're with one of the big banks, pull it out, put it into a credit union, check that credit union, make sure they're doing the right thing, you know. You're just like, well, I only got, a couple of grand in my account. I'm not some rich person. That couple $1,000s adds up. If you go to defunddapl.org, the number of money that's been pulled out is huge. It's in like hundreds of millions of dollars now. That's significant. They pay attention to those numbers. So pay attention to the people that are doing the right thing. That's what you need to do. And when a disappointment happens, it's okay. It can be depressing. It can't be a bummer. But don't let it just crumble you. Don't think, oh, all of humanity's done. It's easy for me to do that. Oh, the human race is awful. We're done. We need a meteor to just fucking hit this planet. Game over. That doesn't help me when I think that. What helps me is doing this show. When I come here every Sunday, I get fired up. I get excited because I see all of you get involved. It gives me hope. I started this channel January 2nd, and I had no idea any of you existed, and most of you probably didn't know I existed, unless you knew of me as a comedian or something like that. So look what's happening here, and I see many of you getting more involved in your communities as a direct result of this show and watching Jimmy Dore and all the Tim Black and Kyle Kalinske and Saint Progressive and all those other great shows. So it's a really positive thing that's happening. Amidst a lot of negative shit, there's no two ways there's a lot of negative shit happening. But Amy, I'm not giving up. All right? What else is going on? Amy Mature, I think death by meteor sounds better than the other choices. Carib Moth, I live in a conservative area of the oil patch. I agree with Graham that small things are important. If you sit and mourn the big things, nothing gets done. Absolutely. Absolutely. Amy Matura, appreciate you, Graham. Hopefully the left doesn't become an echo chamber. No, we got to make small changes. This is why I think the third party needs to be about labor. All these we've talked about this now. Several labor unions, AFL-CIO, have gotten together to form a labor party. Weird, corporate media hasn't covered it. That's odd. Probably just haven't gotten around to it yet. That's what we need. Labor unifies people. Labor will unify the red states and the blue states. Labor will do that because everybody needs a job. Everyone can relate to, I need to feed my family. I need to pay my bills. I need good wages. I need good health benefits. I need a good retirement package. Everyone can relate to that. And that'll help get us out of a left-wing, liberal, progressive echo chamber. Independent outsider, I ain't going down without a fight, Graham, and you gave me the women to fight the zombies. Independent outsider, labor has been attacked over the last 10 years. We're on the defensive right now, absolutely. Trump will make... That's fantastic. Joseph Cicada, Rachel Matt, I was too busy covering Russia to cover news about third parties. Yeah, she's just thought of Russia. If you just wake her up at 3 in the morning, she's just be like, Russia, connect the dots. Russia, everyone's Russia. Russia. Okay, Rachel, shh, quiet. Russia. All right, guys. It's a little after 4. I'm going to wrap it up here in a couple minutes. Miss Simone Harrington, hard to be positive these days for me. I know it can be worse. I do have a roof over my head. I'm a Native American, laughable, this flag issue. Miss Simone Harrington, thank you so much for sharing that with me. I'm going to start directing this Native American stand-up comedy show, and it's going to be funny, and it's going to have politics in there, and I'm going to try to put as much progressive comedy in there. And the head of the network that gave me the job is a big progressive, and so I'm going to bring joy and social commentary onto TV. It's FNX channel. It's on like 20-some PBS channels around the country. Our first tape day is December 17th. And I'm going to give you something to laugh about and think about and be positive about. And if a Jimmy Dore show comes to you live, come to one of those. It is the most empowering, positive event you could go to. It's fucking fantastic. And I appreciate all you guys watching the show. I really do. It's really awesome. Agent Dale Chomsky, since there will never be enough jobs for the population ever again, automation, for example, what's your solution? Guaranteed basic income? That's a great. I've started to read more and more about universal basic income, and I think it could really work. If everything becomes automated and everyone just has everything paid for, we would have a really great society. Think about it. No one needs to commit any crimes. Everything has everyone they need. People can spend their days like learning a hobby, becoming an artist, spending more time with their kids versus working 2 and 3 jobs, and their kids got to be raised by the TV or a nanny or whatever. Like, it's a great thing. Hugh Edwards just supported the show. Bluebell 51 Native American comedy. I want to be there. Well, we're going to start taping like 10 or 11 Sundays. We start December 17th, and then we pick up January 14th. We're going to shoot it in the San Bernardino Community College campus. I'm going to drop the website when the website gets live. It's being finished right now. When that happens, you'll start to see all the shoot dates, and we'll start airing it in the spring. You guys can all be involved. Come out to the tape day. It'd be great to have you there. Man, so many great questions today. Plantastic Life. What's the name of your new show? We're debating around different titles. The head of the network, who's part Native, suggested Custer's Last Stand-Up. I don't know if that's going to be the final name. I love that name. At first I was like, oh, dude, is that going to be too offensive? Because I'm Native, Graham. I love that title. Here's why I came up with it, because it was Native's greatest victory over General Custer, who was an asshole. He fucking killed women and children. And I love the idea that we're celebrating the victory where we slaughtered Custer, who was an awful person. So it might be called that. I can't guarantee it that, though. It's on FNX, First Nation Network. It might be called Custer's Last Stand-Up. It might be called just Comedy Night, Live Stand-Up Fun, or whatever. So you guys are great. Thank you, Art Boy. Tabitha Enriquez. I don't know. You guys are talking about something else. Okay. Art Kalinsky, you guys are great. Well, guys, I'm out of time. You are fantastic. I want to thank all of the super chatters, so many of them. I'm going to go back up here and scroll it down. So we had Sarah J., Francisco Xavier Vargas, James P.W. Martin, Basil Peterson, Plantastic Life, Marcia Smith, who else? Sorry, you guys are a lot. Amy Matura, thank you. You did it twice. Kate. And I'm sorry, this is going really slow. My computer suddenly got really slow. Hugh Edwards. Plantastic Life. Kate. Will the FNX show be on the internet? City of Chicago just sold WYCC, which had FNX. I think the long-term plan is to put it on the internet on FNX's website, but I cannot guarantee that right now. I don't know for sure. So if that's the way you were getting FNX and you can't anymore, you might not be able to see it just yet. I can't answer that question just yet, Kate, but thanks for supporting the show. So, Kate, we had Plantastic Life. I got to make sure I thank all the super chatters. Amy Matura, as I said. Something's janky with my computer, man. Basil Peterson. Thank you so much, Basil. James P.W. Martin. I said that name. Sarah J. Francisco Xavier Vargas. What's going on here? Yes, make sure I got all of them right. Plantastic Life. Zeros, Whistling Potato. Okay. All right. I'm sorry. I'm just getting... Yeah, here we go. I don't know why this... Yeah, Hugh Edwards, Kate, Plantastic Life, Amy Matura, Independent Outsider, Costello West, Sarah J., Francisco Xavier Vargas, James P.W. Martin, Basil Peterson, Amy Matura, Hugh Edwards, Plantastic Life, and Kate. You guys are fantastic. You guys are great. Looks like there was some trollers here. I started to get a chance to block them. You guys are awesome. I hope this holiday week was good for you. And, you know, I'm going to be banging out all the videos this week. I'm sorry some of you Patreon sent me some articles. It was kind of a crazy couple of weeks, but I will get to them for sure. And I really appreciate you guys supporting the show. This is like the highlight of my week, and I feel so empowered and recharged when I do this. Anytime I feel like, oh God, I see a group of people. We all didn't know each other 10, 11 months ago, and now we do. And we're making little changes in our life that overall will affect this country and this world for the better. So I thank you, everything that you're doing. You guys are great. Thanks for supporting the show. Yeah, everything in moderation, even moderation. You guys are great. All right, guys, thank you so much. Enjoy your Sunday, and remember, Make Gotham great again.